That's number one. I would then go to the gym, which Joy would been hired to start and open this gym. And she was working literally 10, 12-hour days, and she did a fabulous job getting it set up. But I got to the gym and we still needed more money. And so I would go over there at 6 in the morning. And one day she said, "Hey, I've got a job. There's an opening there. Would you have an interest?" And I said, "Well, sure." She goes, "It may not really be up your alley." I said, "It doesn't matter. We had to eat 3 times a week or 3 times a day. What is it?" And she said, "It's the janitor." And I said, "Cool beans. I'll be the best janitor that gym's ever seen or will ever see." And so I would go over after delivering newspapers and go and vacuum about 2,000, 3,000 square feet. I would clean the bathrooms, clean the showers, all that kind of stuff. And then from there, I eventually got my personal training certificate. So I'd have some clients during the day, which still wasn't really cutting it for us. And I got into one of the guys at the gym had a company painting apartment buildings, and I started working for him. Now, this was at age 55, right? And I remember one day being at the top of one of these ladders, looking down at the 28-foot ladder going, "What the heck am I doing up here? What's not working in my life?" Right? And then on the weekends, I was also I was the front end desk manager at a Days Inn. I had 5 jobs. Joy had 1 full-time job. We rarely saw each other. By the time she got home at night, 8 o'clock, I was in bed because I was getting up at 3:30 in the morning. And I was doing that 7 days a week. And life was just not working for us. Externally, we were getting behind on our bills. From a rent payment to our car payment to our cable bill, our cell phone bill, and all that. We just kept getting behind, and we didn't see a way out of it. And on the inside, that really made me just feel like just an absolute failure. I'd had a successful company or two in my life, but yet here I was at age 55 at the top of a 28-foot ladder with some type of stain and a brush looking down going, what the hell happened? So we weren't happy. I felt like we were losing a relationship that had been working so well because that financial piece. And, it was just really a tough time for us. And, it just made me feel like less of a man. And I wasn't able to take care of my family. I mean, just that basic stuff. And I've always kind of wanted my dad to just be super proud of who I was. During that time of hardship, we actually got our car repoed, the only car we had. And I had to go to my father-in-law and ask to borrow his old beat-up truck just to deliver newspapers. I mean, man, that's pretty emasculating feeling. So we started looking again, and Joy would bring these different opportunities to me. And I kept saying, I don't want to deal with any of them because we had tried them before. And we were not successful. I mean, a few $100 a month here and there and like that, but she kept bringing them. And I remember one day sitting down on our couch and I grabbed both of her hands very gently in my hands. I looked her in the eye when I said, "Don't bring me another one of these. If you do, I'll always love you, but I will miss you." And even though it sounds a little bit funny, I was serious at the time. We had really hit a brick wall there, right? Within about 2 months of that, we kept getting behind on bills and behind on things. We ended up looking at a business, a company she had been with, still had never resigned from, but we weren't making anything out of them. And we looked at it and decided, let's go ahead and re-engage, and I'll buy this big pack. We didn't have the money to, so we actually decided not to pay our cell bill, 2 months behind already, not to pay our cable bill, 2 months behind already, and we bought the pack. And I remember waking up that next morning going, what the heck did we just do? We've not been successful here before. We've not figured this out. I mean, it seemed like other people were lucky, and we just weren't lucky, right? So what happened was we started looking at what other people who had been really successful in the industry, and they always had these big teams. And we never had a lot of traction with creating big team. And I remember looking at that and going, what are they doing to have this team? And I noticed in this little thought we discovered that we saw, then it hit me like a ton of bricks, was they're training their teams. They're actually spending time every week or twice a week actually training their team on how to create the income and how to create business for themselves. And so that was our little epiphany, that little thing that went, oh my gosh, we can do that. Now, I had never done training like that before. I was afraid of it. I didn't want to get on the phone. I didn't want to, but we had to do it. And I couldn't find anybody who was teaching that. So as we started this business, I remember we decided on day 2 that we're going to be the upline we never had. That was one conversation. And the other one was we would figure out and develop how to train people so that they got what they came for. And so I went ahead and signed up for one of those free conference calling accounts where you can have 50, 100 people on. It doesn't cost you anything. And I said, we're going to have that next Monday. And we had nobody on the team at this point. And so we started making calls, and some people started buying some product. And, hey, we got a team training call, starts on Monday. I didn't know what I was going to teach. I said, well, maybe I could teach one part of the comp plan. Well, I didn't understand the compensation plan. So I studied it and studied. I said, I can teach this first section, which was called Fast Start, right? You make 20 or 30%, whatever it was, on the volume of what their first order. I went, okay, I can explain that. And so we had the call on that Monday night, and 5 people showed up. Well, actually 3, because one of them was Joy, the other one was me. So we had 3 people, but they saw we trained them and said, next week we're going to train on the next part of the compensation plan. And they went out and started sharing, going, hey, we got a team. There's a guy here that's training people. And we went out and started sharing, and it started snowballing. By the end of that first month, we had almost cleared about $3,000 just by this process of teaching people. They were thirsty for the knowledge. It's what they didn't have, right? And so over the course of the next few months, we started becoming very successful. Within 60 days, I quit all 5 jobs. All 5 jobs. And we started making some real money. I mean, into the 5 figures a month money. And we got there fairly quickly. And the only thing that we did different this time was to begin learning how to train people. And so we had to figure out what to train them and how to train them. The coolest part of all this, besides the achievement and the awards and like that, was the company started calling us leaders. And I know a lot of companies say the word leaders, but now it meant something else because we knew we were worthy of it. And we started being on stage. And I've taught in front of thousands on stage and streaming to tens of thousands more around the world. And I'd gotten so good at that the compensation plan, for example, that when someone came to the company and wanted to know how they paid, the executives of the company would send my compensation video. People thought I worked for corporate. And there was that one decision in there that transformed our lives and allowed us to be on stage and to be worthy and to feel like we were deserving and we were making the kind of money we came for. So that's my backstory of how we came. And so what we decided to do was take that knowledge, and I still haven't seen anybody who trains how to train people in this industry. And that's the one piece. If you want to actually create a large income, whatever that means to you, if it's $2,000 a month, $5,000, $10,000, $20,000, whatever that is, you've got to be the person in the front of the room training. There's an old line in our industry. It's called the rule of the marker, right? In the front of the room, there's somebody, with a whiteboard, and they've got a marker. And the rule of the marker states, whoever has the marker is making the most money. And that is true about 99% of the time, okay? So the question becomes, I find out people that in our last business, they didn't know what to teach. They didn't know how to teach it. What we're going to do with our new platform is we're building a community that teaches you what to teach, not just the functional stuff. Yes, your team needs to know the compensation plan. Yes, they need to know how to share a product. But the piece that makes the hugest difference in your teaching is going to be the mindset stuff. Because it's who they become in the process that has those new results. It's not the new results. Everybody here in this industry talks about cars and vacations and all that stuff. But it's the person you actually become who has those pieces. That's what's huge. And that's what this program is going to teach you. So I just wanted to start with this little backstory so you had a chance to really get a sense of the process that we came through, the learning curves that we had to go through, the pain, the conflict, and the resolve, and the incredible results that we've experienced here. So look forward here in the next 1 to 2 weeks for our platform to be put together, for you to be able to be a part of this, to be able to learn those skill sets, to learn those mindsets, the functional skill sets, and to be the trainer on your team to grow your business to any level you want to grow it. So this is Dave DeBerardinis. Thanks so much for spending some time with me today. Have an awesome rest of your day. You absolutely deserve it. Bye for now.